Hi, friend. Welcome back. Good to see you. If you are looking for spiritual growth, in addition to a tarot reading, you've come to the right place. Sometimes tarot readings can be a bit surface level, shallow, predictive heavy. This is going to happen, that's going to happen. But what is that? That is just an attempt for the ego to calm down. It's a way to calm our busy, overactive minds. But what if we use the tool of tarot to further our spiritual growth? That's what these weekly videos are all about. So yes, we're going to get a little bit of, ooh, this is the flavor that might be coming into your world. And ooh, it might be fun to get a reflection back to you of what you're going through, because it's comforting, right? When we're going through something, especially challenging things, it's really comfortable and comforting to get mirror images of people that seem outside of us. So I seem outside of you, right? So I seem like a separate person, don't I? Right? And I might be sharing things that reflect back to exactly what you're going through. And the synchronicity of that is like very comforting to the heart. I know I love to engage with tarot readings on YouTube. That's why I started sharing my own. But this flavor, this brand here, every week tarot teachings, is my intention here is to inspire you to go deeper into your spiritual healing, learning, evolutionary journey. Not just say, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. I don't think that's the best way to use tarot. Tarot is meant for us as a tool to gain spiritual insight. All right, so with that having been said, I've got my tarot hat on, I've got my tarot cards, so let's talk about how you can learn and grow in this coming week. So we're looking at the week of January 15th through 22nd. And as I'm shuffling the cards, I want to welcome you again to this session here. May it be a relaxing, peaceful, and nourishing part of your day. And I want to invite you to take 2 breaths with me. If you haven't already done it, pause the video. Take 2 breaths, okay? All right. So, what learning, what potential is available to us this week? And before I started rolling, I started tuning into the collective here, the people who are going to be joining us here. And first off, one of the messages that started coming through is choosing our thoughts. Now, for those of us who have been on the spiritual journey for a long time, these things may start to seem like cliches, right? Like think positively, be mindful of your thoughts because you create your own reality, right? These things are now these ideas are now in mainstream society, which is super interesting. If you look at YouTube ads, for example, how many of them are based on this idea of like you create your own reality? You decide what you want from your life. So these ideas are in us, but for those of us who have been on the journey for a long time, sometimes these can get kind of worn out, these phrases, and we can stop realizing how much like healing benefit they have. So, and for those of you who are newer to the spiritual journey, yeah, man, choosing our thoughts. So right away, I was getting this feeling of like the importance of choosing our thoughts. And I actually pulled an oracle card from my Buddha Wisdom Shakti Power deck that reflected that right back. So I got this card, the Imp card, and this card is basically about even if we are in a very stressful state, we can still raise the flag of fire, fiery truth, fiery, passionate, life-affirming, positive thoughts. Even though things might seem really gloomy and dark and like a storm and scary in life, we always have the power in any given moment to raise this flag of illumination. Our words carry the vibration of light, of fire, of truth, illumination. So yeah, that was coming through. And so I'm going to be talking about the intention that you could set for yourself this week, an invitation for me to you to set a particular intention for spiritual growth and healing. And then I'm going to talk about a potential challenge that you might have with manifesting that intention, some growths and some strengths and some blessings that are coming through your way, and then a potential outcome, a potential timeline if you followed this growth path this week. So first of all, I'm getting sharing, and I'm also getting the Queen of Cups. And right off the bat, an intention that would be marvelous for you to set this week would be about checking your thoughts in regards to whether you are able or not to share emotional empathy and kindness with others. So sometimes we feel depleted in life. We feel tired. We feel crappy. We wake up on the wrong side of the bed. That happens to all of us. And then sometimes because of that, we let this block happen in our heart chakra, where the people that we encounter, or even maybe the animals or the plants that we encounter in any given day, we have this idea of like, I don't have enough to give. I don't have enough to share. Like, I don't have a minute to just slow down, smile at my next door neighbor and have a little chit chat. We think, oh, I have my agenda, my list of things to do. But what if we could slow down and realize that every single person that is placed on our path is there for us to, at the bare minimum, give eye contact and a smile with, right? And so that's all that sharing energy, that Queen of Cups energy. The Queen is incredibly capable of sharing with others. Now, okay, so another pitfall on the spiritual journey is that sometimes when we're feeling tired or depleted, we think we have to do more than we actually have to do. So we get into this loop of guilt, I should be doing more. And by the way, if you are struggling with guilt, I advise you to, I'll post the link down below to my January energy update, which talks about letting go of the emotion of guilt as something that would be incredibly powerful for all of us to do in this new year of 2026. But we tend to think I have to do all these things to change the world, to make the world a more loving and better and more beautiful place. But it's amazing how little we really need to do. And when I say little, I mean little in terms of we don't have to go anywhere necessarily. We don't have to do anything except for be kind and loving to ourselves and others. And like I said, maybe that is simply a smile at the cashier at the grocery store. Or maybe it's stopping to give a little bit of attention to an animal that seems lonely or scared. Or maybe it is simply taking more time to nurture our houseplants, right? How often do we rush through the process of watering our houseplants? But what if we just spend a couple extra minutes really loving on those houseplants, talking to them? I love you, plant. Maybe we've given them names. I have my houseplants all mostly have names, and I talk to them, right? So it's about slowing down in our lives, giving ourselves permission to slow down enough to be able to share. And again, it's that empathy that is a gift, and also another gift that we can share with the world that sometimes we don't even think of as we don't even think of it as a gift, is meditating, right? Because if we take that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, for those of us who have been on this path a long time, maybe an hour every day to meditate, what are we doing? We're taking the time to cultivate that peaceful vibration within us, which then impacts everyone around us, right? So everyone that we come into contact with, and maybe we don't even leave our house that day, but there surely are probably some neighbors close to us that literally receive the impact of our vibration just by us meditating. So sharing is sometimes simpler than we think. So again, an intention that you could set for this week would be sharing, whether that's simply smiling at people more, choosing positive thoughts which uplift our vibration, and then that has a ripple effect out into the world. So very simple things that we can do to share with the world, to share love with the world. So Ace of Swords, the Ace of Swords tells me that it's beneficial for us this month in January to remind ourselves that we have a fresh start. So especially going back to the positive thinking train of thought that I started a minute ago, the Ace of Swords is telling us that our mind is ripe for this honing in on this declaration this week. It's a good time for this, divine timing, if you will. So what thoughts are we thinking? What thoughts are we putting out into the ethers, out into the universe? Our thoughts affect not only our emotional well-being and physical health as well, but again, also everyone around us. Everyone around us can feel our thoughts. And a practice that I do, for example, every summer, and I would like to do this more, maybe one day I will be able to live in a climate that is more conducive to this, but right now I'm here. But I love just going off into the wilds for as long as I can in the warm summer months and camp away from everybody and anybody, just to come back into my own aura. Because, being in cities, being in highly populated areas, we are in some regards influenced by the thoughts of people around us, right? A funny analogy is I don't really enjoy, crave junk food anymore. I shouldn't say not all junk food, but for the most part, I don't really think about junky food, like food without nutritional value. But for some reason, whenever I drive through Cincinnati, Ohio, which is known for its chili, I just want to have a big bowl of greasy, like fast food chili. There's a place called Skyline Chili that's on like every corner. And I'm like, oh, chili, right? Why? Partly because there's many people, thousands of people at any given moment in Cincinnati eating chili, thinking about chili, making chili. Like people's livelihoods are dedicated to chili in Cincinnati. So I entered that thought field. Suddenly I'm thinking about chili. And I'm like, that sounds so good, right? So we are influenced by this network of thoughts, this aura of thoughts around us. So this is good news and bad news. Good news is we can cultivate the thoughts that we are thinking consciously and send those out into the collective. Also, are you taking time to pull back from the collective? So again, that's why meditation is so important. Meditation is vital. If you haven't started meditating, please let this be your inspiration to get started right now. When we go into meditation, we are clearing out our aura, our energy field of other people's thoughts, which for empaths, many of you here on the channel, watchers, viewers here are empaths, so you need more meditation than most people do. All right. So a challenge that could come up this week of setting that intention to purify your thoughts, choose positive thoughts, and share with other people, share with yourself and others in simple ways. What could be some challenges that come from that? Yeah. Eight of Wands, just the habitual tendency to move too quickly through life. So fast forward motion is not always a good thing. I'm also getting the possibilities card. Usually this card is like a positive thing, but actually it's interesting to perceive how this card in this moment shows a potential challenge, which is that, in, for example, Ayurveda, we have this notion of Rajasic, which is when we are human beings, we come into this world with desires, and that's hot, and that's passionate, and that's potent. And to a certain extent, we cannot escape those desires because we are human beings. However, the spiritual journey is all about lessening that dwelling in the Rajasic states of being. So this week you might be tempted to not meditate, to not slow down, to not consciously choose your thoughts because you've got so much going on. You just got so much going on, so many possibilities. I could do this, I could do this, I could think this, I could go over here, I could do this, right? All these possibilities are opening up before you. Things you could do, things you could think about, right? It's almost like overload, right? And that's what our culture teaches us, overload. That it's normal to be stressed and it's normal to be constantly enveloped in information. But I'm really getting a feeling of slowing down this week, slowing down, meditating more, and then being grateful for all that we can share with ourselves and others. That really tuning into the idea that everything we have inside of us. There's a great, what is her name? I will think of it hopefully in a minute here, but there's a great book, Toni Bernard, that's it. She wrote this amazing book called How to Be Sick. And it changed my life because back in the day I was chronically ill it's a long story, but I dealt with lots of chronic illness in my life. I came across this book. She inspired me so much because she wrote this book from her bed. She could barely get out of bed for a long time, and all she could do really was just like prop herself up in bed with her laptop, stare out the window. Her husband was taking care of her. She really physically had no energy to do anything except for write this book, but she wrote the book. So no matter what circumstance we're in, we always are able to share something with ourselves, whether it's a kind word to ourselves, I love you, Anya, or whether it is just a smile or even just simple eye contact with someone, looking someone in the eye. How often do we look at someone in the eye just with the intention to see their soul? That's what I do when I walk around the world. A lot of times I'm just trying to look in people's eyes in a way that their soul feels like my soul saw them. So powerful. Okay, so what could be a blessing? What could be some strengths, some natural strengths or blessings that you have access to this week that will help with our intention? And maybe we should get more specific about the intention, shall we? So, choosing and sharing positivity. Choosing and sharing positivity. That's our intention for the week. So what could be some strengths that come up with that? Choosing and sharing positivity. Blessed. Past lives. You've got the karma. You've got the karmic bank balance to do this right now. So much boils down to karma. If you ask any spiritual teacher, Eastern spiritual mystical teacher, a question, 9 times out of 10, they could just say the word karma and it would be a perfectly valid answer to the person's question. Karma. So the idea of karma is this is not your only lifetime. You have been here before. You have done this before. You come into this incarnation with your soul has certain strengths that you have gained in other incarnations. This card here is telling me this isn't your first rodeo. This isn't your first rodeo. And you have a depth of wisdom to you that allows you to see the path forward for how you can transcend the level of enlightenment that you experience in other lifetimes. Now, from the biggest, grandest perspective, the concept of past lives and reincarnation is actually not the highest truth. The highest truth is there is no time. Linear time doesn't actually exist. And there's just now, and we're all one, okay? But we can't live in that truth all the time. We got to step it down a little bit for the day-to-day life. And we can live here, which is the truth of reincarnation and karma and learning our soul lessons. So our soul came here with specific lessons to learn, and it also came in with specific strengths and natural strengths that it acquired through past lifetimes. It's like going to the gym to get buff. You went to the spiritual gym in other lifetimes, and you came in with a tremendous amount of wisdom. I mean, you wouldn't even be watching this video if you were at the shallow level of understanding. There is a lot of, and I bless them all. This is not like, I'm not trying to tear anybody down, but there is countless tarot readers out there who are just focused on kind of sharing like messages to kind of boost people's egos. Like, oh yeah, you're going to make a lot of money soon, or oh yeah, this person's going to apologize soon, or your long lost love's going to come back into your life, right? It's a lot of promises, and it's a lot of future stuff, and it's a lot of just like plot lines, storylines. But you, my friend, you're higher than that vibration. You want more than that vibration. And I mean, it's okay. Again, like I too sometimes tune into tarot readings like that just for fun to see what they're going to say. But really, you are much deeper and wiser than a majority of other humans around you. And it will help you to choose. Yeah, to choose and to share positivity. Absolutely. Okay. And a potential timeline that this intention could put you on. A timeline is just a stream of events. We're all navigating and shifting between timelines all the time, but setting this intention to share, to choose, and to share positivity puts you smack dab on the timeline of adventure. I love this card, adventure. Let me pull one more card on that. There's like a childlike innocence to that card. Yeah, because if we are choosing to share positivity, it puts us in the realm of the unknown. Because, Queen of Swords, because we can't, or we no longer want to, we no longer resonate with needing to have a certain outcome, and we no longer resonate with needing so badly to label things as right or wrong. So, a couple days ago, I was driving, it was very cold outside, snowing, I'm in Ohio, so cold, and my check engine light went on again. It was on a few months ago, super costly repairs, came on again. I'm like, oh! So in that moment, choosing positivity, I said to myself, great, this is an example for me, this is an opportunity for me to practice the first Reiki precept, just for today, do not worry, to be in the present moment, to remind myself that Krishna, the divine, gives me everything that I need. I always have had enough. I do have enough, and I will always have enough. I'll have enough to get these repairs done. Everything will be fine. And if for some reason I don't have the money to get the repairs, you know what? then I didn't need to get the repairs because something more important is on my path. So Queen of Swords says, I am powerful, I am strong in not needing to know how exactly this is going to go, right? So like we have these knee-jerk reactions of like, I could have been like, when I saw the engine light go on, to go into negative thought land, right? I could have gone into like, oh no, frustration, irritation, all these like toxic thoughts, right? But then to say I choose positivity. And then my choosing positivity, had a direct impact on even just one person. I had to call the car fix-it shop and say, hey, can I schedule an appointment? And I was in a very high, uplifted state of mind when I talked to the employee that worked there. I could have been in a crappy mood, like, hey, I got to schedule an appointment, which could have negatively impacted that person's day. So literally our thoughts, we either are in fear or we're in present moment adventure. It is really that simple, my friends. Yeah, so that's this week. Choose and share positivity. I invite you to adopt that intention for yourself. Write it on a little piece of paper or on a Post-it note. Stick it on your bathroom mirror or somewhere in maybe the dashboard of your car or somewhere where you'll see it, and just work on it. Think of it. Just let that intention marinate through you this week. I will be back next week, as always, on Monday for another tarot teaching. I love you all so much, and let me know in the comments below if you plan on adopting this intention for yourself, and I will then send you prayers and blessings, which will help you. We all need support, right? We all need positive support, and I would love to support you through prayers and sending you good energy for that intention. So let me know, and I'd be loved to help you out with that. All right, see you guys later. I love you. Namaste.